Winnie, I'm gonna put a pin in
Yep.
this. Okay, it's after 7, so let's,
Sorry, guys.
Kevin, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Or just stand right there.
we can take the agenda out of order too if you want to. Lynn, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Grover?
Here.
Mrs. Sullivan?
Here.
Mr. Helchanski?
Here.
Mrs. Vanderwater?
Here.
Ms. Lesniak?
Here.
Mr. Tupper?
Here.
Mr. Zachariah?
First order of business will approve the meeting minutes from May 17th. Can I get a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Citizens' comments. Sorry.
I don't think there are any.
I could also just ask the
I
group.
was just gonna say, if you passed you to just ask. There's nothing.
Being that no one has signed in, is there anyone looking to address the board this evening? Being none, citizens' comments are closed. I am just going to take the agenda out of order because we have a guest today, Kevin Callahan. I'll kick it over to you, Mike.
Sure,
Just kind
sure,
of
Kevin.
announce.
Kevin, come on up. Kevin Callahan is a Life Scout working towards his Eagle rank. He actually, yesterday was your birthday?
Yeah.
Yesterday he turned 17. I've known Kevin since he was about 10, 11 years old or so. Kevin recently completed his Eagle project, which is a kiosk, an informational kiosk over at the Harbor Heights Park. He worked closely with the Harbor Heights Homeowners Association, and he worked with our own parks and buildings and grounds. They finished the project. It looks great. So Kevin, go ahead. Why don't you explain, number one, why you chose that, and number two, what you did.
So, a while ago, he sent out an email to all the scouts around here about there was a project opportunity, and no one said anything for a while, and then, so I thought about that time, I was a Life Scout, I needed projects, so I asked him who to contact, and he let me know who to talk to. So I talked to the Harbor Heights people, the Homeowner Association, and they just told me what they wanted. They wanted the little kiosk to hold, like, they said 2 to 4 flyers. And so I just went through that with them. They approved it, and then I went to the board here, and they approved it. And then I went to the Eagle board, and they approved that, and then I just I did some fundraising, and I built the project.
What'd the project cost you?
It was about $800, but I got a big donation from Home Depot.
Nice.
Oh, great.
Nice.
How many hours did you end up putting into it? You haven't written that up yet, have you? No, you have less than a year to get that written up? So
360-40.
Well, you organized it with the other troops too, didn't you?
Just my troop there.
Well, I mean, the other scouts in your troop, yeah.
Is that a picture of what it looks like?
Yeah, this is a proposal that I had for
Yeah,
Eagle
start
board,
again.
if you want to pass it around.
Sure.
Okay, got it. Nice.
And I can say that the Homeowners Association was very happy with it, because I have talked to the president a couple times. I've talked to a couple residents, because that's obviously my neighborhood too. And the residents are all happy with it. They love it, other than the ones that put graffiti on it like 3 days later.
What?
But that minor graffiti,
Seriously.
it can be taken care of. So I just want to say, Kevin, you did a great job. I appreciate it on behalf of, number one, Harbor Heights, because the park, because this is something that we really needed in our neighborhood. But I really think it added a lot of pizzazz to the park itself. So you did a good thing for the town, did a good thing for the Harbor Heights community, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
were very helpful, and so was Chris
Yeah.
from the parks.
Chris Ordway, he did a lot of the heavy lifting for him.
Yeah,
So
he had the tractor and he drilled the holes, which was really difficult even with that because it was just all rocks.
Yeah, we know that.
It's awesome.
does anybody have any questions for Kevin? Like, what are all those badges for?
Like start at the top
Happy
left.
belated birthday, Kevin.
Yes.
Thanks,
Well,
Carly.
I agree with Mike, thank you so much. I live in that neighborhood as well, it looks great, and I'm really proud of you, even though I just met you tonight. I love that you've been a Life Scout and that you're going on to do your Eagle. It's a great, great pathway, so congratulations.
Thank you.
And keep in mind, he's 17 years old, and he just organized a fairly major project. He had to figure out, he had to do a proposal, he had to, you heard the people that he had to get approval from, number one. So he had to do all of that, he had to figure out how to pay for it, he had to organize everything, and now he's got to write it all up.
Does he know there's a pavilion that we need built in another park?
And that's true, we do need a pavilion built, so maybe you can do
If
that.
you want to take it to a.
We'll have Josh, yeah, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you very
Thank you, Kevin, I appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Good job, Mom and Dad.
I should have mentioned Mom and Dad in the background too. Both of them are very active in Troop 107, so thank you for that too.
Great.
All right, we'll proceed through the rest of the agenda as noted. Approve the Park and Rec seasonal staff memo per the Parks Director memo.
I'll make that.
Yeah, I said that.
Second.
I think you guys all have the most updated one. There was one other that she added. I told her she had up until 6:59 today in case she had someone, but I didn't hear from her, so I'm guessing we're good.
Do you have the memo? Yeah, which is that?
Yeah, she added a Michael Spinner.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Motion?
Jenny first,
Oh,
I'll
thanks,
second.
Jen. Thank you. All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I didn't say aye, but that was.
Oh, I took it
Aye.
as an aye. A motion to approve the vouchers for this past cycle.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any issues from Finance Committee?
No?
No, good to go? Great.
Look good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. They've been doing some clean out at the town, which is
apparently.
very nice.
Yeah?
Is it done yet?
I'm sure it's Lynn heading that up.
No, Kate cleaned.
Oh.
So we have a few items that just, per the rules, have to declare them surplus so that we can recycle or dispose of them as listed on the agenda. Can I get a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 4, resolution approving the land swap subject to permissive referendum with Jammers and Playa Rienta LLC.
So I will interject.
This is new.
So actually, that's kind of what I was going to say. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions, but they discovered afterwards there was slightly more property because of the.
The roof they're proposing over the patio.
So the roof that they want to put over the patio is going to extend over the property line that we had already agreed on. So it's still land that we don't use, instead of making them go through the process of,
It's a setback issue.
it's always a setback issue. So this is just adjusting this further. It has been approved by the planning board, ZBA, but similar to the last time, this still requires approval by the town board, which is subject to permissive referendum. Last time, there were no petitions filed.
Anyone have any other questions for Nadine or Jason or Doug?
Well, I guess I'll just say, Jason, Doug, you guys have any issues? Nothing.
No, still to our benefit, right?
Yeah.
Doug?
We're going from completely useless to something we can use.
Perfect.
As long as we still have access around the salt shed, I'm only concerned. As long as we have that, I ain't no problem.
Great, okay.
Any issues from the code enforcement officer?
Not that I've seen so far, I haven't had any.
You're busy. It's okay. We'll need a roll call vote.
No, you don't. I
No?
let's do that to refer.
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Housekeeping.
I was all prepared. Item number 5 is we're going to approve a street light at the corner of Route 48 and Bloomfield Road, also known as the entrance to the Traybrook subdivision. The cost for the light is $92.40, which will be spread across the lighting district. Is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 6, approve finishing Snowdale Park, the paving of the half-court basketball court. Jason?
Basketball court is paved. This is the actual coloring of the surface, striping it, putting up the basketball hoop, so usable number shoot at 3 points from.
It's 15,000.
You guys want to take one walk? Yes.
It's less
Is that
than
a full
16,000. It's half court.
That's
It
at
is, okay.
50 by 50.
Any other questions?
We got $45,000 through Onondaga County for this. We spent $12,000 on paving so far. So this amount, we're still under $45,000 received.
Excellent.
Good.
Can I get a motion?
A motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I think that's all I have for the regular agenda. So we'll go to counselor and committee reports and comments. Howard, do you have anything tonight?
I don't.
Jenny?
No, I don't have anything tonight.
Mike?
We have another Eagle project that's kind of in the works at Van Buren Park. What I just heard is that they haven't had any further contact from the Eagle candidate. I spoke to him a couple days ago, and he says he is still doing the project, he just needs to follow up on it. So there were some questions about what was the standing of it. According to Chris and Heidi, they haven't heard anything, but according to the candidate, he does still plan to do it. He just has to work out how it's going to happen,
Okay.
possibly go to Plan B.
Wendy?
I'm sorry, was that all?
Yes, that's all. Thank
I
you.
have a couple things. I wanted to let the board know that I've been working with the Corporal Kyle Schneider Foundation with the donation of the AED unit up at the pool. I have been working with Heidi. There's forms that needed to be filled out and completed and signed off by a physician. I assisted the foundation with doing that. I brought the paperwork back to Heidi, and the foundation has identified a unit that they want to purchase and sent it over to Heidi for her review and approval. So that's moving along pretty nicely. Jenny and I attended the Canton Woods board meeting last Thursday. I think it was a quick meeting. They really didn't share too much. A lot of people weren't at the meeting. I don't know if it was due to the holiday or people just had other commitments, but one of the things that we discussed was the walking trail behind Canton Woods. I think I mentioned that to this board before, that they were going to get money from the county for materials, but it wasn't going to cover the labor, and Canton Woods was agreeable to covering the labor through their senior activities fund. They got word back from the county that they're no longer going to cover they're only going to cover a certain type of material that the board felt wasn't satisfactory for safety for the residents. So we as a board discussed about putting more money in to make it material that will be safe for all residents, whether wheelchair bound, walker, cane, or no assistance at all. So more conversation is happening on that. And again, they were very much agreeable to using those funds that they have in those activity funds to make that usable for all residents that attend Canton Woods. And lastly, I had another comprehensive land use plan meeting before this meeting tonight to specifically review the solar farm zoning laws, and we had a really great meeting. Bob was in attendance. We do have a resident who is partaking in the committee meeting, so that's great because I did want to get outside input from our residents. We pretty much narrowed down all of the things that we'd like to see in the law, and now we're going to attack how that language will look in the law and how to articulate that. So our next meeting is next Tuesday before planning board at 5 o'clock, and Lynn has already made that notice. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Bob, anything tonight?
No, I think Wendy covered it all.
Wendy, I'm sorry, just to go back on Kent Woods. Do you know if they applied for the senior center improvement grants? If you don't, it's not a
I
big
believe
deal.
they
Just-
did, but I
know they had,
believe
like, a
that there
rough
was some
list.
kind of restrictions to what they could use that for and what they can't, and the material that Canton Woods wants wasn't something that.
Oh, so this is not the same as the senior center like
Are you talking about like the?
1 million that was set
COVID
aside in
money?
no, this is 1 million that was set aside in 23's budget for the county. And
Oh.
senior centers can apply, but they have to be capital improvements.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't
that
know if a
that
walk-in.
falls under it. We talked about
I
that.
believe the village.
At one point you said, I thought Ruth had a rough list of, needs.
Yeah,
whether
I
it
think she was talking about roof.
HVAC, I think.
I just don't want to miss
Yeah.
out on the opportunity to
No, she's
apply.
on top of that.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that because it's part of the building, I think that went through village.
Village of Baldwinsville, that's fine, yeah, that makes sense. Highway superintendent,
Nothing this evening.
engineer,
Real quick, I'm sorry, Doug, I had somebody from Harbor Heights asking me about, actually, she was from East Sorrel Hill Road, wanting to know about the Canton Street Bridge. Need further word on that.
Candy Street or Connors?
Connors.
Connors, okay.
oh, yeah, good.
Whichever one is keeping people from driving.
Are we still on with Verizon?
Partially, it's come to a head and Verizon has actually responded back to B&L or whatever. There's been some communication going back and forth. They last week said they were hoping to get out here by the end of this week, near the end of this week. So I'm hopeful, I did not see anything this afternoon when I went by and checked. I'm hoping that we see them there tomorrow or Friday.
Okay.
I would be surprised if it's more than a day or two to hook up. And then the guide rail company can come in and do their half a day and we should be done. But it's still waiting on Verizon. That did get bumped up to a, I don't know what they labeled it, but more of a urgent.
Service complaint.
Actual formal service complaint.
That's another
So it got actually moved up on the schedule and it actually got scheduled. It's supposed to be the end of this week, so we'll see. We're
Very frustrating.
very frustrating for a lot of people and everybody here.
I just canceled the Verizon over this. Just kidding.
Thank you.
Engineer, any additional comments?
We're just about wrapped up our Village Boulevard project, so we'll be getting reimbursement from, through DASNY for that. They got paid, the drainage and paving got put in last year, and the last bit of drainage just got put in 2 weeks ago.
Great.
That's all I have tonight.
Any additional attorney comments?
Of course. So, Rolex. I received an email from Josh Heinz asking if the board would consider releasing a $60,000 security that they have for Phase 1. Frankly, their letter of credit has expired on June 2nd. I have been talking with their lender about the fact that it wasn't supposed to expire and they needed to replace it. They believe that the work that the $60,000 is meant to secure is completed, but they have a punch list with items that are still outstanding. So I am sharing with you that the request has been made for the release. I'm also sharing with you that it's the recommendation of our town engineer and our highway superintendent that you not agree to the release of that because we have punch list items that are outstanding. Part of the concern is also, this is all relating to Phase 1 and 1A. When they dedicated the roadways for 1 and 1A, we all remember that process. They were informed in November that they had monies that they had to put up for security because of punch list items. Now, what we often do is say, okay, we'll close out security monies here, so then we'll just start fresh with punch list items. Since November, they have not provided those security monies for the punch list items, which is why we are saying, why we recommended just moments before, don't release the other money, because it can technically, it still captures all of it, okay? We don't typically handle it that way, but because normally we say, okay, wrap this up and now just give us what's needed for this. But for reasons I can't fathom, and I will share with you that when I spoke with their lender with Lions National Bank, he wasn't even aware of the need for this additional security monies that's been asked for since November. He was like, oh, this is news to me. which is slightly concerning.
So is the securities money in addition to the money that we're holding?
So what we normally would do is release that first 60 and then say, here's what we want.
Yeah,
for the
so
punch
here's
list.
a small amount left. We need
X amount for that.
X amount, so give us a different security for that X amount.
That's what we typically do.
Okay.
We don't have to do it that way. It's just always, I think, been decided that it's a little cleaner or easier. But since November, because they haven't given us that other amount, you're not in a position. And letters of credit, I confirmed with his lender in particular, they don't do for less than 1 year period. So we're in a position, you could have released it, but you can't release it. Because I said to him, well, why don't you try to issue something in a short term if they're like, because Brolex is telling their lender, oh, don't worry about those that punch list items, we can bang that out in 2 weeks.
I would also have to add that it should be less work order fees at this point too. I mean, I realize you wouldn't, I know, but like, I
That's
mean,
another issue, but
how were we gonna give them back 60,000 when at this point they're, I don't know what they're even up to, but hundreds of dollars and
Oh, it's thousands.
Thousands of dollars.
7,000 perhaps.
So I just wanted to give you an update in case they ask whether or not I informed you of their request.
So I have some more questions.
Okay.
The letter, I'm gonna call it a letter of credit guarantee for the 60,000, when does that expire?
It expired June 2nd, and I had been on the phone all through the end of May with their lender about the renewal of that.
And are they agreeable to the renewal, or have they not answered you yet?
He indicated that he would absolutely renew it because they have cash as security.
Okay.
He has cash as security.
Okay, but you haven't received the paperwork.
Correct.
Okay, and then question to Doug. I'm assuming they haven't fixed that divot in the road that we talked about no? Okay.
That's not fixed yet.
And is that part of the punch list, or is that something set? Oh,
That is on the punch list.
Amongst a couple of them.
I love how everyone's like, yeah.
Were any of those items on the punch list done by us? Wasn't there something for preparing for snow removal or something? I vaguely remember something that,
That's why we took dedication back in December.
Yeah.
So we could do snow removal, and we did actually go in, which I believe they may have done some, but it wasn't done to our standard, my standard, as far as cleaning out catch basins and blowing out lines because of all the sand and silt that had gotten in the system. So we went in there this year and did all that again to make sure it's flowing correctly.
and because of the fact that we took it as dedication, we can't take that as part of the credit.
No, I don't know, I guess part
But
of
they
it would
warranty
be
for it, they do.
maintenance. But
There's a warranty period with that, but, and one of the concerns, speaking frankly, we're all familiar with the problems that we've experienced, right? The proposal that they have for their other development here in town, at the last planning board meeting, the planning board confirmed with the developer that they were satisfied with the density that was proposed. That was acceptable to them, and they needed that confirmation so that they could move forward with the next step in the engineering design, right? So that they could firm up stormwater and get that design a little further. One thing that is a concern, and I'm just gonna plant this seed now, is they are not proposing that for the apartments, but I think also the townhouses, they're not dedicating those roads as proposed.
They're keeping them private.
That is my recollection.
The main drag through, they're going to.
One main drag, but all the roads that go off there, and it was discussed at one of our pre-agenda meetings that given the problems with snow removal elsewhere, that should just be kind of out there, and maybe the town's okay with it in the long run, or maybe that's just setting you up for receiving telephone calls in 5 years from now. And they're never looking, I don't know.
Right,
But
because
just
to me, that's set up sort of like Radisson subdivision. There's several private drives, and then the 5-6 houses on those private drives, they procure their snow removal. So, I mean, that.
there's actually some spots that are similar, maybe not quite as large, but.
Oh, yeah,
Village
they're
Green-
really small.
In Village Green,
Yeah.
that has fingers that are not.
So, I mean,
So we may
the
be
problem is
looking,
making
if we
sure.
don't do dedication, if dedication's not required, maybe what needs to be looked at is real closely their homeowners' documents.
But you're talking about Kriego, right? Not
Correct.
Trey Brook. Okay, I was just checking.
I am. And seeing how they plan with a homeowners association, but I'm not sure that those are going to be part of a HOA over there because that's going to be all privately held for rentals, I believe.
Correct.
I believe the whole thing
Yeah.
is going to be in an HOA because they have common property.
Some of it. I don't know, it just.
I think it would be similar to Village Green where people own the villas and there is an HOA and they contribute toward that monthly.
But there's also apartments that I don't believe they're selling.
Right, which would be like the condos over in Village Green.
Could be.
Yeah.
But. I'm
Well, you've
not
let us know that they're
Just put that on your
requesting,
radar.
yeah.
Just something to think about as you're looking at plans. Right. Because of experience.
Duly noted.
Lynn, anything else from you?
Nope.
A motion to adjourn?
Moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.